Hello, everyone. It is Jessica Amala Dawn, and I am back for another weekly energy update for the week of February 14th to the 21st. It's great to be here. Welcome. I am feeling good. I have had a very nice Valentine's Day. I hope that you have had a very nice Valentine's Day as well. Happy Valentine's Day. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, on one level, it's like, well, Valentine's is kind of like not really real and it feels kind of a little bit fake and commercial. Like you go to the grocery store and like everything's like so contrived, like they've got like they would have like chocolate hummus now, and they've got like just the chocolate dipped strawberries, and like it's just like such a contrived it's kind of like, I guess, like like how Halloween's become and like a lot of things like that, like the commercial side of it. But it is also an opportunity to be, what's the word for it? Find, I think, a little bit more like innocence in our love, And like it's a good reminder to like be a little bit less intellectual about how we love. And I really, really have enjoyed that aspect. I've had this like really great relationship with my daughter that just keeps growing and growing. She likes Valentine's Day and she likes giving Valentines. And so it's like, all right, I'm going to make my daughter my Valentine then. And so I got her some flowers, and I got her a nice card, and I got her a chocolate heart lollipop, and she really liked it. So, it's all good. So, hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining. So, yeah, I mean, the energies. I would say that things are coming into a really good time. There's a lot of peeling away that's happened of the hurt and the subconscious blocks that have been in the way of being able to just choose your thoughts and choose loving thoughts. Sorry, my cat. So, and in that, like, really, like, it was really a lot of those subconscious attachments. Some of them not even from this life, really. A lot of them are even past life things that have kept you stuck in certain loops. And once those have been made clear, then it's like, or conscious, then it's like the mind then becomes this like clear conduit for spirit, and it also frees you up to be much more intelligent with how you choose your thoughts, how you choose to accept the thoughts that are presented to you, which is super helpful, especially when people are trying to sell you on things and market you things, especially people that are really savvy at that. Like, just like having this clarity to be ultra discerning about what is really true for you. And that actually, that clarity of mind and aligning your mind with your higher mind, which is really opening up now, actually serves to open up more of an unconditionally loving heart, especially since like you now have the opportunity to just choose a more loving thought, and just really stepping into that role of being more of a co-creator, and allowing this sort of more intimate and direct relationship with the divine and with source and God, or whoever you want to refer to it, allowing that more direct relationship to basically give you a lot of flexibility and lightness and freedom of choice. And Stephanie says, I'm excited and to hear what tonight has in store. Yeah, I know. I'm excited to see what the cards say too. But I feel like this thing about the mind is really an important point right now, because we do create our reality with our thoughts. And And having this clear mind not only is like freeing up a much more masterful ability to choose our thoughts and what we want to accept or not accept, but it's also serving to open up more of the clairs coming through, like clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, um, claircognizance, just knowing things. So they're kind of part and parcel, and that's part of what's kind of activating you to become more super powerful and allowing you to come back a little bit more into embracing your empathy and your a new form of like your innocence by being able to sort of provide and protect for yourself better because of like this mastery of self and of mind and higher mind integration. So it's very, very cool. And in addition to that, there's this opening up of being seen more. Like we were working a lot this past week on opening up the throat and just like being much more like vocal to other, to the outside about, what it is we kind of want or who we are or what we stand for, or just, just like actually just showing up a little bit more with our words without like any sort of like veils or mirrors or layers. But I think there's like another level where like that is then also now integrating like the solar plexus and the sacral chakras, and really like I just like feel like this womb awakening, this womb expansion of like really coming forward from this feminine power, from this feminine Christ kind of power that's coming through, that is being integrated and expressing this like creative energy and outward into the world in a more powerful way that's new and different from maybe what you've been able to achieve in the past because of the limitations, the blocks, the traumas, etc. So that's my sort of like little precursor for what I feel is coming through. And let's pull some cards and see what's going on. So I feel almost ashamed kind of going straight for the energy oracles, but they are calling me. I just ordered a new for which hopefully I can dig into next week, which I'm excited about. And I have another new one too. I just haven't been ready to talk about it yet. So there's a couple of new things coming, which are very nature-y based, which will be good for some of the new stuff that's coming online. So yeah, so just because I think a lot of this new thought that I mentioned, this new thinking, is also going to it's going to lead to a greater expansion of consciousness about our relationship with the world around us, our relationship with nature, the powers of nature, and plants, and like all of that's really gonna grow and expand and explode. And something I said, Stephanie really confirms what she's going through, which is awesome. I think I'm guessing that was about what I said about like this whole thing about the womb and expressing your creativity in new ways. I have a feeling that's what it was about. So that's cool. So let's call in God, Source Spirit, the highest vibrations of light and love, only our highest and wisest, most benevolent and loving guides, angels, ascended masters, our womb wisdom, crystal caves at the center of the earth, and here specifically Lady Nada, Lord Sananda, Galactic Federation. Cool. So what do we need to know this week in our highest good and the highest good of all? What do we need to know in our highest good and the highest good? Whoa. Let's just jump out of this. What do we need to know? Okay. Yeah. This makes a lot of sense. Okay. So, and it is kind of a little bit repetitive. Hey, Natalie, thanks for joining. We're just getting going. So the first card is Journey. And the second card is Magician in the Mirror. And the next one is, oh, whoops, sorry. The last one is Indecision, reversed. Okay, and the Magician in the Mirror is also reversed. So, and the underside of the deck was Action, reversed. So, like, what's really going on is it is actually in some respects kind of like literal. Like there's a little bit of stepping into power fully with this Magician in the Mirror because it's a central card. So it's like the predominant energy. It's like not fully coming online because of, or hasn't fully come online yet. And it caused this sort of a little bit of like stuckness in terms of taking that action that you feel is wanting to come forward, right? That you feel is birthing. And, but what's kind of gonna like fix that, what's gonna help to resolve it is like getting like very clear on your decisions, which is happening this week. Like I said, this clarity is coming through in a big way. And part of what's gonna help get the clarity is making a trip, but also making a decision to making a bigger trip. And that could be a vacation, it could be moving. It could be like just moving a house or moving to a new place or just like a very significant trip, any of those things. But it's a pretty important message, and getting more clear on what that trip or move is, like where you're going and why and how that's going to help you to like fully activate and step into like your full power and creating, like fully creating your life that you want, because a magician can truly create their life that they want. And it could be even about like stepping into learning more about magic itself to create what you want potentially in some cases. But any like, I think that just like any wishy-washiness about like because of certain outworn maybe sense of duty and obligation or social expectations is like kind of getting cut through the clarity of like divine truth, and it's going to show you like where you need to go to get to where you need to be, because we have to keep in mind that like we're heading into higher consciousness realms that maybe some of the people that are around you in your everyday life don't fully resonate with or aren't fully there yet. So you may need to like more seriously reconsider what you need to do for yourself to support you to like fully step in to that power. So that's an overall energy for the week. Hey Sarah, thanks for joining. And I feel like pulling some regular Rider-Waite tarot actually. There's this newer, we'll just say, tarot deck that I am interested in that's kind of different, but nobody in Canada really sells it. You have to like pay $100 right now to order it in Canada. It's like, well, I guess I could order it from like American Amazon, but it doesn't feel right to do that. I don't know. So, but it's pretty cool. And so it's very intuitive, and I think it'll be good. Hopefully I'll be able to get it at some point because I'd like to have more diversity. All right, so what do we need to know? Just seems like there is some sort of hostility around something to do with the relationship and like needing to make a choice on it that's coming to a close. It could have been with even like a whole group of people. That's what I'm seeing in the pre-shuffle. So, I mean, that could potentially even be family, but there's a good chance that it has to do with like a past karmic partner, romantic partner. What do we need to know? The highest good. What's the group need to know? Okay. Yeah, I think it's a romantic partner because we got Ace of Cups reverse and Knight of Cups reverse. So something Something is ending there. And it could be like the ending of a contract. And I feel like this has kind of been dragging for a while, but there's just some deeper layer of release of these karmic contracts that like maybe we don't fully understand because it goes across lifetimes in some cases. And like it could even be like you have connections to like some of these people from like lives on other planets for all you know. Like we don't always know everything from our Akashic record, but a lot of stuff is being like cleared out around these people. Yeah. So what popped out is King of Pentacles reversed and Three of Cups reversed on the underside. So I just feel like this, like maybe in some cases, some people thought this person was going to be their everything and like provide them with a lot of stability, but it's just not, it's not actually in truth. And they're actually kind of taking all of this for themselves. So in some cases, like you might have been giving a lot to a person and they've just been like accumulating it more for themselves instead of sharing that out. And it could be with this reverse, like that this person might be an like potentially be some sort of like an addict. They could be a gambler, they could be a drinker, they could have, I mean, I know that's not a typical interpretation of the card and these messages are being a little bit negative, but I'm just based, this is also based on like some other insights that I've had coming through this week that like it's just like some people that have addictive tendencies, especially if it's to do with drugs or alcohol, don't even realize that they are just like taking. Yeah, and like we got the Ace of Wands reversed that just popped out, and then Temperance on the underside. So I mean, there's something is coming into balance overall with this situation, and hopefully karmically, which is very good. But it also might be that some sort of like, you know, something that was like you maybe thought was an emotionally and sort of sexually exciting opportunity with a certain area isn't necessarily coming to pass. So, but that's, you know, so maybe there's needs to be some healing around that. But that I think is going to help to like bring through the, I think the more important ultimately overall energies of like becoming this like magician is very, very important to your overall purpose and what you came here to do. And, um, and I do feel like taking a trip is really going to help to move things into a really positive direction. What else do we need to know specifically for the divine feminine? Specifically for the divine feminine this week? What does the feminine need to know? What else does the feminine need to know? What else does the feminine need to know this week? Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of confirming like my intuitions around those cards, even though it was a little bit of a non-traditional perspective. It's because we got the Seven of Swords upright, so it just kind of confirms the stealing energy that I was feeling here. And so like it's just there's something that's been sucking at your energy or that needs to go, and it's important to kind of get really clear on what that is and end it and cut it off. So and you're ready to do it. It's like, and it's gonna like free you up so much to step into all this clear audience, like, you know, whatever psychic abilities you have, whatever clear thinking abilities you have, it's gonna help you so much because it's these ties. Like I had this channel to me, I think it's even earlier today, but just how important cutting off these. Oh yeah, because I was doing a journey with a flower essence specifically to cut toxic ties, and it was making it clear like that this was kind of the energy around them, and this was, they were literally stopping you from like fully stepping into your magic and power. It's just that significant, even if that person's not very involved in your life anymore, it does play a big role because of any past connections and attachments, especially if it was like a sexual partner or like long karmic partner. So the next card is Four of Swords reversed. So again, it just brings me back to this energy of the journey, and that like there's this deep need for rest that hasn't really fully happened yet, and a break from like your normal reality. And a lot of that is to like, once these ties are cut, to like really recover from this stealing energy that was going on for however long. It could be going on for so long that you don't even realize how much has been affecting you. And next we've got the Two of Swords reversed. And again, it's just kind of confirming that in a very, very positive way, like a very, very clear double affirmative, that the decision is being made. And so like don't have to like really worry, as long as you kind of don't resist the process. It should be fairly easy to kind of come to this clarity and cut the cords that need to be cut this week. So although it's funny, the underside of the deck was the moon, so which is, but I feel like what it's kind of suggesting is that there's been a lot of confusion, and it's really time to like ask for clarity, get it, and make the decision. Yeah. Stephanie says, I need to cut my relationship with nicotine. I feel like it's keeping me from flourishing. I'm ready to do it. Very nice message. Yeah, for sure. I mean, because often often things that we don't even realize like that can have such a big impact. I actually did a fast, my very first fast, for I lasted for 64 hours, and I could have gone a little longer, but I had some things to do that was requiring a little energy, and I didn't want to do them without having energy. So I let myself have some water, and I eventually let myself a little bit of green tea, but for the most part I just like had nothing for all that time. And it was really, really good for kind of clear, like just kind of having that cut, and it's helped me to start to come into more clarity. And I just think that like forcing these like cuts can really, really help us to move forward with something. So I wish you luck with that. Joaquin says, what is my best step in life? Thank you and be blessed. If we have time, I'll do some personal cards at the end of the reading, but I'm not going to stop in the middle of my general read to do personal cards, because it would break up the flow of the message. So if there's time at the end and you're still here, let me know and I will get back to you. So what does the masculine energy need to know this week? What does the masculine energy need to know? What does the masculine energy need to know? What does the masculine energy need to know? What does the masculine energy need to know this week? And what else does the masculine energy need to know? What else does the masculine energy need to know? What does the masculine energy need to know? Okay. So yeah, there's some sort of letting go of hostility. Like this card is all about like maintaining the high ground upright. There's something about like, wait a minute here, because we've got with it the Ace of Swords reversed, okay? And on the underside of the deck, we've got the Five of Wands. So what I actually feel here is not what I was originally saying. What I feel is that the masculine is refusing to take the high ground. That there's some sort of like lack of clarity, lack of higher insight, lack of enlightenment and illumination to propel them forward into taking the high ground in a situation where there's like battling and hostility, and they're still allowing themselves to be kind of stuck in the mud at this like lower level of fighting things out without any higher wisdom or guidance. Yeah, unfortunately, like that's just like is what I'm seeing. So what can be done though about that? I feel like there's some advice needed. Because that's a very stuck energy, and they really like the masculine energy really needs to get out of that. So there's okay, I'm gonna put the other two back. This one I'm gonna keep. So there's something about not having fully finished like healing from something that was lost and still being stuck in the state of like victimhood and lack that's keeping them here. So that's, so there could even be like some resentment around that, and resentment really keeps people stuck from being able to move into higher mind. And so, you know, the masculine really needs to work on like emotional transformation this week a lot. So, and there's different, you know, techniques you can do for that. I actually have found, I think I mentioned this last week, that like the EFT, the tapping has like really helped me a lot. I suggest it. You have to do it quite a bit, but then once you have a little bit of a release, it's really good. And then the most powerful releases that I can provide for clients and that I have found for myself is the Akashic Records readings. They're so healing, and you can really access this like deep emotional release. I've had that also happen before with like crystal grid Reiki, that you kind of need to do more in person, but that can be really powerful as well if you have access to that. And it's something I'd hope to do more with people in person in the future myself. So yeah, there's just this like, on the underside, it's interesting, was the Hierophant, right? So it's, I think that the additional message with that is like, they're not really having the belief that they could have some sort of like authority or opinion that really was valuable is also what's keeping them from receiving those authoritative insights that would allow them to maintain, you know, to hold the space of the high ground. Like they're just, it's just a very stuck energy, and there's like a lot of lack of self-confidence around it and disbelief of like in their capabilities, you know. And you know, I've heard, you know, from a masculine that I've had some level of connection with, like his own concerns about like on some level feeling like a fraud, even though this person is like super successful with like sharing his insights and his teachings with other people. Very successful, and still kind of having this shadow of feeling like a fraud. And like it's not fully dealt with, and it needs to go through this process of transformation this week. But I feel like if the masculine can do this, it's going to lead to a very huge breakthrough that will like start to move things really fast, which is exciting. So, and it's funny because actually, and what just popped out as I said that was that Hierophant card. I felt like something wanted to come out. It's just kind of confirm it's really going to like elevate them into a much more powerful sense of being a leader and a teacher, and that's going to help take their whole journey and, you know, the bigger dreams they have into fruition. Yay! Okay, so but again, the underside there was the Three of Wands. So there's a waiting period. There's just something has to kind of like come home. So some things take time. So what's next? I want to pull a Lightworker Oracle. I love these cards lately. They're so good. And just the messages are really beautiful. So what does the group need to know this week from the Lightworker Oracle? What does the group need to know from the Lightworker Oracle? What does the group need to know from the Lightworker Oracle? What does the group need to know? If it's ever going to come out, what does the group need to know from the Lightworker Oracle this week? Okay. Ooh, yeah. Spiritual decree. Very nice. Yeah. So this is all about this moving into this like higher mind that I was speaking about, especially like for the feminine at the beginning of the reading. And I think that this is like, it's almost like a level of initiation that's going to help to activate these powers of the magician. So I want to actually take a quick look at the book. I know I haven't looked at the book in a while, but I kind of want to see what the book has to say about this specifically. Yeah. So it's just confirming like what I was saying about like you becoming the creator of your life by determining your thoughts. So, like, what do you want to happen next, right? And if you want to go on a trip somewhere, or if you want to move, you can make it happen. You just have to like be able to choose your thoughts around what that's going to be and how that's going to look like. And you have to declare it. So, and it's just like ask for guidance, wait for signs, set the intention, and develop faith in yourself and to trust what your heart actually wants, and that you're willing to go through whatever, discomfort is required to get to like where you want to be. And it's just time for you to see like what you want and your intentions actually blossom, because you've done like, once you've like finished this clearing work, you've done what you've needed to do to like receive your manifestations. So it's time to like really understand what that's like. But you don't know exactly how it will necessarily always play out, but you can get super clear on what you want and move towards it without a controlled, rigid idea of what that is. So yeah, just like being super honest with yourself about what it is you want. I feel like that's a message that comes through a lot. So let's pull a native spirit card. Is there any other messages here? Hey Naomi, thanks for joining. What do we need to know? Oh my gosh, that's way too many cards. What do we need to know? What does the group need to know on their highest good? Medicine bag. There you go. Awesome. Cool. And I'm really drawn immediately to like the waterfall in the background and the purification of that. And it kind of makes me think a little bit of flower essences, because you've got like the bag with these like herbs in the foreground of these like pure crystalline waters, and the idea of the waters being infused with, and underneath, look, eagle medicine. So it's just like really strong medicine medicine that connects you to spirit, right? And to that higher mind. And also, higher mind as a form of medicine, which it is, right? Your thoughts can heal you. So, but I really feel kind of I feel strongly about this whole essences vibe with the flower essences, and how powerful of a role they have dynamically working with the nature spirits and with the pure waters to provide profound healing. But also the medicine bag in of itself, carrying certain herbs that have been specifically chosen and blended for your specific healing that you wear on your person, is also a different way of calling in plant spirits and their healing around you. And it's just a slightly different form of spiritual plant medicine. And they're both very wonderful and powerful. And so, like, I'm just hearing, yeah, like, do it, like, get that this week, like, go for it in whatever way you can. Incorporate that into your life. And if you need assistance with that, let me know. I mean, I can do intake sessions to prepare a flower essence formula that's customized to your unique needs and situation. And it's just important to have that higher level of refinement. That's what I'm hearing, like with your healing, to help clear some of these things out. I'm just so compelled and drawn to this medicine bag and the power and the healing that's inside that medicine bag, because of the collaboration between the healer, the shaman that made what was in that bag, their connection to the different worlds and the plant spirits, and how it was so lovingly put together in harmony with creation to create powerful healing and restoration. And there's something about expanding like overall awareness around the connectivity of with nature and the power of nature to heal us. That's very important. And just the overall power of nature in general. I mean, I was watching something this week that was suggesting that the earth and the earth energy is just so much more powerful than human energy, which is hard to believe because the human mind and thought consciousness is so powerful. But it's really, we're just in an important time to realize just how powerful the earth and the plants are, and opening to that healing and that heart healing on a very deep level. Yeah, that's super, super beautiful. Now I know I was so drawn to pulling a card from there. That actually leads me to wanting to pull a tarot card from Herbal Tarot and seeing what pops out. Might give some inspiration. All right. What do I need to know? What do I need to know? What does the group need to know on their highest good? I feel like this is like a higher message. Like it's like a message from your higher self. So what I'm going to do, actually, just to play with it, is I'm going to pull 4 different cards. So pick 1 through 4. And each one is going to be a message, a different message for higher self. So if you want to just take a second to do that, and if you feel really called to 2 numbers, you can do that too. But I was heard to pick 4. So the first card, okay. Oh, 2 came out. Okay, so if you pick number 1, you've got 10 of Pentacles and King of Cups. Wild Yam for 10 of Pentacles and Saw Palmetto for King of Cups. So it's really, really positive about like something about this coming into your higher self wants to kind of bring you a level of emotional mastery that is going to help you to like move forward with bringing your projects and your purpose into creation in a way that's like also fruitful in the world, like including financially fruitful. But you can see like that the offering of the cup is made towards this fruitfulness. So something about, it's also about taking those emotions and putting them towards this creation as well. And it's like that cup in the way is like, because crown is sort of receiving the higher self, and your cup, your emotions, your heart is your way of channeling that higher self forward into the creations. And I just feel like it's very, the blue robe also makes me think that like the blue ray is involved, and there's something like kind of like an indigo blue ray vibe coming through into this that wants to kind of step forward. And you can see that he's on this, like he's still like similar to the traditional tarot, like he's on a very solid ground in doing so, which is what's going to create, despite the fact that like the emotions are all around, there's like, he's actually a much healthier King of Cups than the regular King of Cups. Like he's just totally strong, confident, and stable with all of his feelings, and so that's allowing the higher self to come through and offer that so clearly into this work, into this creation. And it's very bountiful and grounded, right? Like this is a wild yam. It's like a root vegetable. Like even what's being grown is like of the earth. So it's taking something very like from on high and very pure and spiritual, but grounding into something very rooted and earthed. So that's nice. So for number 2, for those of you that picked number 2, we've got Death and Suspended Person. So suspended person is the hangman. So there's something that's being put on hold until you go through this process of transformation and rebirth. So, and you really do. I think I love how the suspended person is immersed in water, because it's really suggestive that like what's really holding things up is that need to do that deeper like emotional subconscious clearing work. And that's where this transformation, this death and rebirth is going to come. Death card here was elderflowers, and suspended person was kelp. So, and here we've got in the background these mountains. But I'm really drawn to the suspended person and like the kelp and the underwater. It just feels like the whole energy of this is so submerged. Like almost like you could feel like you're drowning, and that can be scary. And it could feel like you are like kind of like this hollowed out person, like not even there as a person in like the world above water while this is going on. But it's almost like you're meeting that higher self, like in that deep, deep, like bottom of the ocean place, which might be the last place you think you'd find it. So, but you have to allow yourself to go there. And taking baths could certainly help you to go through this process. So, and hey, Brittany, thanks for joining. So, for people who pick number 3, if anyone just joined, I just ask people to pick 1 through 4 to get a message from your higher self for the week. So if you pick number 3, number 3 got 10 of Swords reversed. And this is ephedra. So this is really all about like confirming that something's just really come to an end. And it's almost just like for this, if you pick number 3, the only thing that's really holding you back is that you still haven't fully come to the higher realization that the past is actually over and that you are free to actually just open and access whatever higher self wants to come through. And it's almost like it's as simple as that. And by coming crystal clear on that and realizing that really that past literally has no bearing and no hold over you anymore in any way energetically, then you can let that last little mental attachment go to allow for this connection to unfold. It's very simple. So I think that's pretty good. And then if you pick number 4, what is the people that pick number 4 need to know? What do they need to know? What do they need to know from their higher self? What do they need to know from their higher self? If it's ever going to come through. What do people that pick number 4 need to know from their higher self? 2 of Cups reversed. So, and this is Uva Ursi. I love this card. It's so sweet. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like with this one, I feel like this has to do with self-love is really like the gateway to your higher truth. Self-love is the gateway to your higher truth. So deep, deep within the recesses of your heart. And I feel like there's a little bit of, I'm feeling and hearing kind of like nostalgia and like something about honoring the loving person that you are and have been in the past, even in like relationships that haven't worked out, and valuing who you are as a loving person, as a romantic person, and not just dismissing those parts of you from the past that maybe you thought were like stupid or naive in some ways. You've kind of like, you kind of just like made them kind of less important or unimportant or disregarded parts of yourself because, now I'm so, maybe now I'm too spiritual or whatever to like kind of be like that. But actually honoring that and having some remembrance and nostalgia and self-love around like those maybe disowned or aspects of yourself is actually going to allow you to come into a greater wholeness of heart and access your higher self even more. I love that. I really feel that one, actually. Maybe that's mine. I don't know. I didn't get to check. So, so that's awesome. What else wants to come through? Let's pull a fairy card. Actually, no. First, we're going to pull Are we gonna pull? Yeah, we're gonna pull Magic Dimension. Sorry, we'll quickly pull one. These are by Lightstar, and then we'll pull a fairy. I just wasn't sure if I was gonna grab one of these, but I decided to go for it. So, people need to know. Trust. Yeah, trust, overcoming doubts, insecurities, patience. So, I think that makes a lot of sense. I feel especially based on like the masculine read that came through, there's like a lot of self-trust and overcoming of insecurities that needs to happen this week. But I think, for the feminine too, like it's just having the confidence to make that decision, like overcoming your doubt about making a decision and having the patience to just like realize that it might not happen immediately once you get like clear on what you want, and just allowing it to kind of trusting that you can like declare what you want and allow it to unfold in its divine timing, you know? And asking the divine, it's actually really helpful to ask the divine to align for what is yours in your divine right, and feel like just trust in that too, as a feeling like you have to figure everything out which you don't always have to know every detail. So now let's pull our fairy card. What's a healing message from the fairies? These fairy cards are very healing too. I highly recommend them as you go through your healing process. If you kind of just work with these and you specifically ask just to call in the fairies and just for a healing message from the fairies rather than calling in anything else, you can shed a few tears. I have a very strong connection to the fairy realm, so maybe I'm a little biased. Maybe that wouldn't happen for everyone, but they show up a lot when I do Akashic Record and Rainbow Bridge connection readings, and they're just so healing. I mean, I really, really am loving how I'm growing in my work with them, and I'm always amazed by the power that fairies have to heal. So it's really awesome. So what does the group need to know from the fairies in their highest good? What do people need to know from the fairies? The fairy realm in their highest good. Okay. So it's Iris of the Rainbow. It's a little hard to see that there. So this card is just like all about there being hope for the future and just assuring you of that. So, I mean, I know the reading this week was like kind of like things weren't kind of coming together yet. Like there's still some things people need to work through, but it's just assuring that there's like, that there is hope for the future, and that things, there's just this time of like the time of getting everything in line that needs to kind of happen into like this place of fully being able to receive what wants to enter. And that's why we have the singer of the chalice on the bottom, because it just makes a lot of sense, like about becoming this perfect chalice to bring in these grail codes, the holy grail codes, to bring in very, very special light that's going to help heal the planet. And so it's not just like, this isn't just like a little hope for the future. Like you are literally, all this work is to create hope for the future, not just for you or a counterpart or your family, but for like the world. It's that big. And the rainbow in her hand is like that rainbow bridge to that hope, to that new earth, to that new way of living that is heaven on earth, that is sustaining and fulfilling and real and soul filled. Whereas right now we're living in a world where ultimately it's full of like deceit and manipulation and draining and basically zero sum game. And like, as you know, like, not that I really like live in that world anymore or choose that world anymore. It's still the collective consciousness world at large within which, all you know, disclosers or star seeds or spiritual people or light workers or whatever you want to call yourself live within, or white magicians or even the black magicians, like we all still live within this greater context of like people that are in a larger picture playing that game where they're being drained off of a very small group of people that are at the top that are deceiving people. So, you know, this is all to create what needs to be done for you to become a sovereign person that is like truly able to shift things in a powerful way from within, like from, because you're becoming literally a channel to the higher dimensions and waking people up to what's actually real and what's really possible. So I think that's it for the main reading. If anyone wants a card, you can let me know, and I will give you a few minutes to say that. And I really enjoyed this reading. I think I'm gonna be back. I don't know. I just have this feeling I'm gonna be back for like another update sometime soon. It just feels like there's more that wants to come through, but it feels like kind of done for now. Let me see here. For whatever reason, these Gabriel cards want to send something through. So maybe I'll just see if anyone wants a card while I pull one of these, and then we'll call it a day. What do we need to know from Archangel Gabriel this week? What does the group need to know? 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 Okay. So the first one, stay true to yourself. And it says here, don't compromise or water down your ideas. Listen to, trust, and follow your own inner voice. Yeah. So it's this whole thing about trust again, right? Trusting yourself. And it came up earlier, this whole thing, right, with the spiritual decree about trusting yourself and like following that inner voice and like realizing that you can declare it and it will manifest. So it's like really, really strong message. And then the other one, which is kind of seems a little bit off and different, but is time management. And it says here, place your priorities at the top of your to-do list and don't allow distractions to deter your focus. So it's just like, yeah. So it's just like, it's really wanting like to be a little bit more focused this week, like than things have been in terms of like moving forward and getting things done and reaching people and sharing your message. And like, it's really easy with everything going on, like to get kind of distracted, but especially since I know some people have some emotional healing work to do this week. But I would just say, you know, like, how's the masculine has some like really deeper work to do. I would just say, like, I would almost say, to be honest with you, that like in the masculine's case, I would say the masculine needs to pencil into their schedule time to do this deeper work. But I think that there also is, I think actually for the feminine, it's kind of the opposite. And the feminine kind of needs to actually make sure she blocks out time to be more out there with sharing, like in a more public way on social media or otherwise, with whatever it is she's trying to bring forward. It's like a little bit different there. So let's see. Okay, so Joaquin still wanted a card. Thank you for the reading and sharing your gifts of insight. I love those messages. You're welcome, Stephanie. All right, so I'm going to pull Magical Dimensions Oracle card for you, Joaquin. I'll put the one I had back in the deck. So what wants to come through for you? What wants to come through? Transformation, metamorphosis, synchronicity, the unexpected. This is a great one. Yeah. So, and she's got this big halo of light over her head. So you're coming into a time of like a lot of newness, big power, and like your purity is really coming through. So, I mean, you can see all these beautiful rainbow colors, and I feel them on you. I do. Like, I feel like all this like wonderful new energy is, activating within you. You just need to kind of like trust it. You really need to open up your crown chakra and um, allow it all to kind of come through and express and become you, because like it's really asking you to like let go of like your old egoic self, and just like let your higher self like become you this week in a really really big way, in more like really just allowing and trusting that and letting it come through. And on the underside there, we had celestial assistance, angelic messages, guidance, enlightenment. So, you might also hear some guidance coming through around that, or a new level. Like as I said, like I think that a little bit more clairaudience might be coming online for some people in some cases, and so it's definitely a possibility for you. I'm seeing that here. Um, Yeah, it just like I feel just really drawn to how powerful this card is for you right now. And I just feel like it's really, really beautiful. So like make sure that you take time to really own it and allow it, but and then also like do what you can to like share it forward, like express it so that like it's seen and shown. Because like when people are seeing and hearing from you this week, this is what they're seeing, all this beauty, you know, this metamorphosis. So, and it also, this whole thing about synchronicity, like use those as signs to trust. So when you're seeing synchronicity, it's really giving you like these, like, oh, yeah, this is like, I'm on the right path. This is good. And use that to allow you to step further into this energy. So, hey, Michelle. So I think that's it, unless there's anybody else that wants a quick card for the week. And if I don't hear anything, then we're good to go. All right. Well, I really, really enjoyed this. I'm sending you all lots of love. And yeah, I'll be back soon. And have a very, very wonderful week. And namaste.